few years ago, I took a month off work and sailed south alone. No real plan, just me, the open water, and enough canned food to last if I screwed something up. I'd been needing a reset, and being out there with nothing but the horizon in every direction seemed like the perfect solution. On the 12th night, I was somewhere between the Turks and Caicos and the Dominican coast, middle of nowhere. No land in sight, no other vessels on radar. The kind of night where you feel like you're the only person left on Earth. It was around 2 a.m. I couldn't sleep, which isn't unusual for me out there. The rhythm of the waves gets into your bones, but your mind still hums with every creak and flap of sail. So I was lying in the cockpit, watching the sky, half dreaming. Then I saw a light on the port side, low on the water. Too low to be a plane, too steady to be a star. Just a single faint white dot, no movement, no blinking. I watched it for maybe 5 minutes before grabbing the binoculars. Nothing, just blackness. I set the binoculars down, and the light was gone. I didn't see it blink out or fade. It was just not there anymore. Weird, but not impossible. Could have been a fishing boat with its lights off, or maybe a satellite reflecting at the right angle. That kind of thing happens. I was about to lie back down when the VHF crackled. I hadn't touched the radio in hours. Channel 16 was quiet when I checked before turning in, but now it hissed to life. Static, faint, broken. And then, through the fuzz, still there? Just those two words, clear as day, not panicked, not loud, just calm, like someone asking if a friend was still on the line. I picked up the mic. "This is sailing vessel Summer Wind. Repeat your last?" Silence. I scanned channels. Nothing. I called again. Nothing. I sat there for a while, just listening to the static. It wasn't the weirdest thing that's ever happened on a crossing. Radios pick up stray chatter sometimes, signals bounce, but it stuck with me because of the way they said it. Still there? Like they were expecting someone to be listening, or watching. I stayed up the rest of the night. Around 4:30, just before dawn, I saw the light again. Same spot, low on the horizon, but this time it moved. Slow and smooth, parallel to my course, keeping pace for maybe a minute before veering off and disappearing behind the waves. I never saw it again after that. I told myself it was nothing. Probably was. A weird reflection, or another boat I couldn't identify. And the radio, maybe just someone messing around. But I still think about that voice sometimes. Not what it said, just how certain it sounded. It was a Wednesday around 7 p.m. I had just gotten home from work, grabbed a quick dinner, and was settling into my usual routine of scrolling through my phone. Nothing out of the ordinary, just the typical evening wind down. My apartment's a decent size for the price, and it's in a quiet neighborhood, so I don't get much traffic through here. The kind of place where the most excitement you get is when someone moves in or out. It's the kind of place where you don't worry about locking your door. Nothing happens here. Except 6 months ago, something happened. I'd been sitting on the couch for a while, half watching some documentary, when I noticed something out of the corner of my eye. It wasn't much, just a shadow in the hallway, like someone was standing in the doorway of my bedroom. It wasn't even the kind of shadow that would make you jump, more like the kind you ignore because your brain tells you it's probably nothing. I didn't think much of it at the time. I got up to grab a drink from the fridge, then went back to the couch. But when I sat down, I saw it again. The same shadow, right in the doorway. This time I couldn't just brush it off. I was pretty sure no one was there. I hadn't heard anything, and I hadn't seen anyone enter the apartment. But there it was, like someone was standing just out of view. I figured it was probably just my mind playing tricks on me, so I got up again and walked over to the doorway. No one was there. The hallway was empty, the bedroom door was wide open. Still, something felt off. I checked the locks on the door, checked the windows, and even made sure my phone wasn't picking up any weird signal interference. It could have been nothing. Maybe I was just tired. But then, the rest of the night felt wrong. Not in a way I could explain, but you know that feeling when you're convinced someone's watching you, even though you're alone? That's how it was. Like my apartment was just a little too quiet. And that shadow kept creeping into my thoughts. The next few days were fine. Nothing unusual. I tried not to think about it, but that nagging feeling stuck with me. That same shadow in the doorway. I kept telling myself I was just stressed, that it was probably nothing. Then, about a week later, I was sitting on the couch again, scrolling through my phone. And I saw it. Same spot, same shadow. I don't know how I noticed it so quickly, but it was there again, like it had been waiting for me to see it. Just the outline of someone standing in the hallway. I froze, my heart pounding. I didn't want to get up, but I also couldn't just sit there. I stood up, walked over, and checked the hallway again. Nothing. No one. The door was still open. Nothing was out of place. As I turned to leave the doorway, I felt it. This sudden drop in temperature, like I'd stepped into a draft that wasn't there before. Not just cooler, cold. The kind that settles into your skin before you realize what's happening. I couldn't explain it, but the air had definitely changed. I didn't know what to think anymore. I didn't want to call anyone. Didn't want to sound crazy. But I couldn't shake the feeling that I wasn't the only one in this apartment. Now, whenever I come home, I check the hallway first thing. I haven't seen the shadow again, but sometimes, when I'm sitting in the living room, I swear I feel eyes on me. I teach a first-year lit course, which means I grade a lot of bad essays. I usually leave quick comments in the margins, sharp loops, tight spacing, angled letters. I've written the same way since high school. 2 days ago, I was halfway through a stack when I noticed something strange. One of the papers had feedback written in neat, almost calligraphic cursive. It was my handwriting. Same pen, same color, but not mine. I thought maybe I'd just been tired, slipped into some weird flow. But the next paper was the same, and the next. I flipped through the entire stack. Every single page had been marked in that other style. Elegant, careful, like someone had taken their time. I checked my notebook. Same thing. My lecture notes were full of graceful, unfamiliar loops. I tried writing something new. This is my handwriting. It came out perfect, practiced, beautiful. I've been trying to force it back, writing slowly using muscle memory, but it won't go. The letters came out smooth, identical. I don't know how to explain it. But the thing that's scaring me the most isn't the change itself. It's that I've found some notebooks I don't remember writing in, filled with that same handwriting. I rent a little old house near my university. It's cozy on the main floor, but the basement's been gutted, except for a bathroom that's used for storage. Last night, around 3 a.m., I woke to the sound of running water. Not dripping, running, like a full shower. I followed it to the basement bathroom. The light was on. I stood there for a few minutes, just listening. The water kept going. Eventually, I opened the door. The shower was running, steaming hot. The mirror fogged, the tile floor wet. There was no one inside, no towels, no footprints, just steam and a sharp, metallic smell. I turned off the water and left the door open. I was out most of the day, but the house felt strange when I got back. I kept glancing toward the basement, half expecting to hear the water again. Then tonight, just as I was heading to bed, I heard the toilet flush downstairs. I went down and glanced in. The room was full of steam, and the mirror was fogged again. But this time, someone had wiped the words, "Don't turn it off."